Coming up on Network Africa. Clashes erupt between supporters of Cameroonian presidential candidate Issa and security forces as vote counting gets underway after Sunday's presidential election. Madagascar President Andry Rajoelina reportedly flown out of the country after warning of a military attempt to seize power. Plus, 42 people killed as bus crashes on the South Africa mountain path in Limpopo. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. We begin today's program with stories and happenings that made headlines over the weekend.
On Saturday, officials and heads of African states convened in Lomé for the second edition of the Lomé Peace and Security Forum, where they advocated for tighter cooperation in this critical sphere. During the event, heads of states called for the creation of a multilateral security mechanism across Africa to address the continent's emerging security threats effectively. Other speakers also echoed the sentiment, further underlining the opportunities laid among challenges.
We have to take responsibility for our destiny in our hand. We cannot continue to outsource our life and livelihood, our development, including our food, our protection, our prosperity.
To confront our painful past, Liberia established a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. As President, I have sought to implement its recommendation because there can be no lasting peace without justice and reconciliation.
On Sunday, thousands of people rallied in front of the Antananarivo City Hall demanding the resignation of President Andry Rajoelina as unrest continues to ravage Madagascar. Earlier on Saturday, several army personnel, administration center, as well as military personnel also joined protesters calling on their comrades to disobey orders and support the youth-led protests. President Rajoelina stated that an attempted coup was underway in the Indian Ocean country after CAPSAT claimed control of the military. The unrest, driven by the Gen Z MADA movement, has entered its third week, fueled by anger over repeated power and water cuts, corruption, unemployment, and the soaring cost of living. And thousands of President Alassane Ouattara's supporters gathered for his campaign rally in Daloa, where he officially launched his bid for a fourth term in the upcoming elections. The president, now 83, won a third term in 2020 after a constitutional change that reset presidential term limits. Under the 2016 charter, he is permitted to run once more, potentially securing a fourth mandate. More than 8.7 million Ivorians have registered to vote in the presidential election scheduled for October 25. Still on Sunday, Cameroonians turned out in large numbers to vote in the country's 2025 presidential elections, with many expressing hopes for change and development. Long-time President Mr. Paul Biya cast his ballot in Yaoundé as polls opened nationwide. He faces 11 challenges, including 79-year-old former government spokesman Issa Tchiroma, who has gained traction with the campaign focused on ending Biya's decades-long rule. A According to Elections Cameroon, more than 8 million voters registered. The election will be decided by a simple majority with no runoff required.
Let's continue with updates from Sunday's election in Cameroon. Soldiers and police in riot gear were deployed to the country's northern opposition stronghold of Garoua as supporters of one of the presidential candidates, Issa, called on the Electoral Commission Elecam to declare electoral victory over 92-year-old President Paul Biya. Clashes erupted in northern city of Garoua just before the polls closed in the Central African country. 76-year-old Tchiroma has galvanized large crowds demanding an end to the President Biya's long tenure and drawn endorsements from a platform of some opposition parties and civic groups. He voted in Garoua early on Sunday, where a Reuters witness said security forces used tear gas to disperse crowds, claiming his victory. Voting also took place in 45 Cameroonian diplomatic missions abroad. Here in Lagos, Nigeria, the Consulate General, Republic of Cameroon, opened its doors at about 8 a.m. on Sunday morning for citizens to cast their ballots in 4 polling stations demarcated in the building. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, reports.
Weeks of anxious wait have culminated in Election Day in Cameroon and in all 45 foreign missions around the world. It's a Sunday, but citizens have emerged to perform their civic responsibility despite the rains in Lagos. Armed with their voter's card, they present themselves at the Consulate General Republic of Cameroon for verification and for voting. The process is a bit cumbersome for some because they've not paid attention to instructions guiding today's activity.
For you to have that voter card, you presented a consular card. But some people, they didn't collect it, or they didn't even know that the cards were here. So it is them coming with their consular card, but provided their names have been registered, we are checking. If the name is not there, unfortunately, they cannot vote.
12 candidates are vying for the post of president, including incumbent Paul Biya, who at the age of 92 is seeking an 8th term.
Paul Biya used almost 40-something years. For our own village, we are not staying, we are not doing the farm because the terrorists, even the Boko Haram, it was affecting the Nigerian government, but now they are entering to our village, our local government, and they stop us. These Cameroon people to wise and but the right people. That's why I love Nigeria. Every 8 years, everyone must come out.
Yeah, I vote for Paul Biya. Because of I happy with them. Then striving for our own country.
Political parties have also sent representatives to monitor the voting. Representative of FNSC, party of opposition candidate Issa Tchiroma, is unable to monitor as he does not have his consular card which identifies him as a Cameroonian citizen. He expresses his doubt about outcome of the polls.
I didn't see anything as yet. You see the window is black. You can't see what is happening inside. You can't see if they full the vote, the box. You don't know anything.
Cameroonians have the opportunity to vote their choice, but it is clear Paul Biya's party, Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, has the upper hand thanks to a strategy employed over the years.
The ruling party is well established because it's the most ancient one, it's the most widespread party. So I think they will win.
Security remains topmost on the list of concerns for many Cameroonians here. A lot of them come from the north of the country where they say insurgency has affected livelihood and well-being. When polls close and votes are counted, they hope their candidate will be declared winner. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
Consul General Alice Bell shares her thoughts on who would be the winner of the election, stating that the ruling party had reached deep into the grassroots to clinch a win.
I think that among the 12 political parties we have, the ruling party is well established because it's the most ancient one, is the most widespread party. So I think they will win because they are everywhere and they have a system to go down to the people. That is the system of the ruling party. They are always present. Even without elections, they are there. Why that some candidate is just at the eve of elections that we see them. But I think each country has his own way in how can I say, in learning democracy. Our own is like that. The ruling party is well spread among the opposition parties. Some are just trying, some understand very well. They too, they are now established. So we can also see who can be second, third. Why that some is just at the eve, people don't even know them. So that is our way step by step toward democracy. But at least for us to have 12 candidates means that we are open.
Well, Cameroonian in diaspora and executive director of the African Policy Forum in London, Eric Acha, faulted the conduct of the elections, saying the ruling party had made it difficult for free and fair elections to take place in Cameroon. He also alluded to party agents conniving with security forces, creating the perfect conditions for political instability. He was speaking to our foreign affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, on Diplomatic Channel.
In Cameroon, I've seen video footages from Garoua, from Douala, polling stations in Bamenda and Boya, where you had polling station officials fighting with early voters who accused them of stuffing the ballot boxes. So some entered the stations to vote and realized some of the ballot boxes were almost half full. Then they were asking, but where are these from? Because we were we were in the front of the line or at the front of the queue, and we came in here before anyone came in. So where are these ballots from? And the interesting thing is that this is being captured on video, and I believe in the days ahead, the world will see what has been going on. You had other instances where people were voting and coming in and leaving without having the ink, the indelible ink being put on their fingers. That was encouraging them to vote multiple times in different stations. And now when the observers or the civic observers that were there raised these issues, it became a big issue. And I've seen pictures of one officer, election officer, actually struggling, physically struggling with members of the public over these issues. So we are hoping this isn't what is being repeated across the country, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the situation, because the incumbent is determined. Despite all the momentum and the pressure on him, he is determined to have another 7 years again in office till he turns 100. I'm not quite sure if you're aware that the incumbent is 92 years today, something that's shocking the entire world. But he is determined to carry on to his 100. And that's why we are experiencing what is coming in from Cameroon today.
Well, it could be taking its cue from the Malawian president who was just sworn in. Mutharika is 97 years old, so he's taken over Paul Biya as the oldest president. We don't know how long this will last. But Paul Biya himself, he does seem to be experiencing some health challenges, not just because of his age. There have been instances, even at world events, where he's had no idea where he is, no cognizance of what's going on around him. And it just seems like he's been pushed along as president in his duties. And Cameroonians are looking at this, the rest of the world is also looking at this and wondering what exactly is going on.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it in a much more better way, because from every indication, it didn't start today, it's not last year, for years today, there have been issues about Paul Biya's health. And they keep it a state secret, because even though he's physically weak and there is every sign to show that he is unhealthy, but nobody knows what's wrong with him. He is aged, others will say is weighing him down, but it is clear that he is unwell.
You can watch more on Eric Asher's interview on Diplomatic Channel. It airs tonight at 8:30 on Sky 515 in the UK and at 11:30 on DSTV 420 right here on Channels Television. And still to come on the program. Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh plays host to Peace Summit on Gaza, co-chaired by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and US President Donald Trump. Welcome back. We continue in Madagascar, where there are unconfirmed reports of the embattled President Andry Rajoelina being flown out of the country amidst a brewing political crisis since September. His whereabouts are unclear, but he issued a statement on Sunday warning that an attempt to seize power by force was underway in the country. This follows 3 weeks of youth-led protests over high unemployment, cost of living and corruption. The General Mada movement also called for the resignation of the president. Troops from a powerful military unit known as CAPSAT that backed the protests on Sunday claimed it has seized control of the entire armed forces. However, senior army generals have said that the security forces are working together to maintain order in the island nation. At least 42 people, mostly Zimbabwean and Malawian nationals, have died after a bus overturned on a mountainous road in South Africa's Limpopo province. Officials say the crash happened on Sunday night when the bus veered off the N1 highway and plunged down a steep embankment. Authorities describe it as one of the deadliest road accidents in the country this year, with 7 children among the dead. President Cyril Ramaphosa mourned the victims, calling it a tragedy for South Africa and its sister states, Zimbabwe and Malawi. Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh is playing host to a peace summit on the crisis in Gaza that will be co-chaired by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and US President Donald Trump. President Trump has landed in the Egyptian city from Israel after overseeing the release of all remaining hostages that were in Hamas captivity. In exchange for the hostages, Israel has also released almost 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. This part of Mr. Trump's 20-point peace plan, which was agreed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Hamas group. More than 20 world leaders are gathering for this meeting as the group aims to finalize an agreement to end the war in Gaza. And this was part of a ceasefire plan facilitated by President Trump. Here in Nigeria, the Lagos state government in the southwest has issued a stop work order for illegal reclamation activities ongoing in the Lekki area of the state to narrow and reduce the size of the Kwata River. The Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, gave this directive during an inspection tour. He says 17 houses have been removed for the illegal activities going on in the area. According to him, some individuals have deliberately chosen to destroy the ecosystem provided by nature, and government will do the needful to ensure the state is protected from natural disasters.
Senior officials of the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, as well as the Ministry of Transportation, are in Lekki area of the state to investigate reported illegal activity ongoing within the axis. The team moves to Oral Estate in Lekki, where a demolition exercise is already ongoing for blockage of drainage channels.
Some persons have taken it upon themselves to believe they are above the laws, and just for pecuniary gains, and they choose to do things that will push back nature. And I'll give you instances. We're driving through the now. You saw what we saw at 156. Behind 156, they forgot there is the coastal road alignment. So 156 must be allowed to breathe. We were there last year. We gave them the setback and the right of way, knowing fully well that the coastal road will pass behind it. And we came today, we saw what they had done. And we're going to remove those contraventions. So once 156 breathes very well, it discharges into this Ikota. And then Ikota will discharge to the Lagos Lagoon on the other side of Lekki. So it's a system that nature had designed itself. But humans are trying to now cluster it. And it behoves us as a state to show responsibility to our citizens.
The Lagos State government says 17 houses have been pulled down for encroaching the right-of-way of the Ikota River alignment, a move government insists is needed to prevent flooding.
We got a major complaint some months back that some persons are trying to reclaim into Ikota to narrow it, and we stopped them. The ministry stopped them, we came. But we got a whistleblower inform us some days back again that they had aggressively continued that encroachment and that they are now trying to sell to innocent third parties. So we came now, we saw what they are doing here. I've taken a very firm action as a ministry. We are stopping it. I'm going to push back, remove all the contraventions, and try find those behind this madness and put them before the law.
The next stop is the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway to inspect the area for the forthcoming green rail line along the corridor.
The green line that we're talking about should start December. So it's actually from Marina to Ekpe, but we're starting from the toll gate all the way. We faced it. You know, the Marina will be over water, you know. So, but for this one, it's going to be from Lekki Phase 1 all the way to Ekpe. We're speaking to the wetlands and also approval given to people on the power line. There are two different things. Temporary approval on the power line.
And the final stop is Parkview Estate in Ikoyi, where flood control works are ongoing. The government says 80% of the drainage construction has been achieved, and it will continue to put in more effort to mitigate the impact of flooding across the Lagos metropolis.
Nigeria's former Foreign Affairs Minister and former permanent representative to the United Nations, Professor Joy Ogwu, has died. Professor Ogwu was the first woman to hold the position of permanent representative to the United Nations from Nigeria. Prior to her career, she served as Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. She was appointed Foreign Affairs Minister by former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2006. She reportedly died this morning in New York. May her soul rest in peace. And as we end the program today, here's our fun fact about the continent. Did you know that Burkina Faso means land of incorruptible people or honest people, and combines words from two local languages? Burkina from the Mosi language meaning upright or honest, and Faso from the Dioula language meaning fatherland or homeland. The name was adopted in 1984 by President Thomas Sankara to replace the former colonial name Upper Volta and to unite the country under a name that reflected its people's integrity. That's our program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.